Hey everyone, it's Reddit Jedi here. On today's episode, partners of sleep talkers or sleepwalkers, what gems have you to share? Enjoy. We were freshly married and living overseas. My husband hadn't had much sleep the nights before, which usually enhances any sleep talking. It was hot in our room. My husband mumbled something which I didn't quite catch. I asked him to repeat it. He got up, opened the bedroom window and said very pointedly, "Airflow, bitch," then laid back down, completely asleep. Now, my husband has never, not once, ever called me a name or even raised his voice to me, so this is particularly hilarious. Edit. You guys are far too kind with all the awards and upvotes. Thank you so much. Also, this happened before Breaking Bad was a big thing, so maybe my husband is the original Jesse Pinkman. Except without all the meth and mayhem, of course. I love how you capitalized the word bitch. He used it like a proper noun. Question, are you an English teacher? XD username checks out. My husband and I got married just 3 months ago and I found out he's a notorious sleep talker. Some nights he would roll over to me, kiss me full on the mouth, tell me he loves me, then plonk right back on his pillow and start snoring again. This actually happens regularly, much to my delight lol. Other nights he would blurt out things like how he would install a new server at the sheriff's office, or there's a snake on his palm, and when I asked what it's doing he answered that it's coding something. I now enjoy staying up late and am a proud owner of several recordings of my husband's sleep talkings. Recently, I got him answering math questions and it tickled me silly how he got them all correct. Edit. Oh, hey. I got awards. Thank you. Happy dance asterisk. Was the snake a python? SQL server. Is your husband Jesse Pinkman? Skinny white guy, but not that skinny white guy the first can't stop laughing. My boyfriend once blurted out, "You're putting bread in my ears," in his sleep, mumbled something unintelligible and then followed up with, "And I'm becoming a sandwich." Still makes me laugh whenever I remember. What are you? An idiot sandwich. It's fucking raw. Where's the lamb sauce? This lamb is so raw is still following Mary to school. Edit. The soup is drier than the Sahara Desert. Fantastic sleep songs with lyrics which are utterly bizarre. My two absolute favorites have been 1. Oh whoa whoa, it's a corner cat, 2. Obey my rules, and you'll always be a country cowboy, repeated about 5 times and finished with a yeah. Corner cat is amazing. That might make it into a song of mine. That was literally it as well. Like a jingle from a TV advert. No context, warning or other words or lyrics whatsoever. Absolutely incredible. I'm the sleep talker. A long while back my fiancée was working a job where she didn't get home until after midnight. She came home one night, and was leaning over the table on my side of the bed. She swears up and down that I looked up at her, smacked her on the top of the head, and when she asked what the hell that I told her I was checking to see if she was a ghost. Now, I do remember having a dream like this, but in my dream my hand did go through her head, proving she was a ghost. I had a dream that my GF was biting my neck playfully. I didn't want that, so I push her gently off and tell her to stop. Soon after I woke up and she was holding her eye and crying. She says I just pushed her, sat upright and straight punched her in the face. She said she wasn't too hurt, but was extremely confused. I had a girlfriend do that to me. I was in bed playing a game on my laptop with headphones. She sat up, looked at me, punched me right in the face, then went back to bed. Apparently I cheated on her in her dream and deserved getting hit? You stuck your dick in crazy, my friend. I did. We've been split up 4 years. Still making my life hell. Roommate freshman year of college was a sleepwalker, sleep talker. We were in the freshman dorms, small little room. I woke up one night and saw him sitting straight up on the side of the bed just staring at me, eyes fully open, just talking gibberish about golf. He was going on about Phil Mickelson or some shit. Have to be honest, it was creepy as all hell because he was staring directly into my eyes. Next morning, I told him about it and he just laughed and said, "Sorry, I tend to do that from time to time. I'm sorry to tell you this, but he is possessed by a golf demon. You need to make an offering of 10 golf balls and a 3-iron to it, or it shall never leave him." A friend who was next to my room in a high school dorm used to sleepwalk. He also used to sleep earlier than the rest of the floor. So one night, around midnight, we all were up and talking, in my room, except him, he'd gone to sleep. We were kinda worried that the dorm advisor would cut our chill session and tell us to go to sleep. Suddenly, we hear someone banging on the door of the room. I get up to go open it, and as soon as I turn the handle, the door comes flying towards me. I was knocked back into a table, and standing there was my sleepwalking friend. He says, "Where is the secret of the time?" and without waiting for an answer, walks back to his room, climbs into his bunk bed top, and goes to sleep. Needless to say, we were all surprised, but being teenagers, we never let him forget it. It became a running joke in the school. I can absolutely imagine him being late for class and someone asks him, "Where is the secret of time?" I have had funnier experiences than this one, but cannot remember exactly what was said. Most recently, though, my boyfriend scoots over to me to big spoon, little spoon, and I snuggle in, thinking that's all it was. Then he gets real close to my ear and whispers, "Just so you know, there's something in the closet." Like a cartoon turtle. I did my best not to bust out laughing and just said, "Okay honey." When he woke up, he had no memory of it whatsoever, of course. Were you the slightest bit concerned of the cartoon turtle? I would have checked the closet. Then you would not survive the horror movie. He got up, went into the kitchen and ate one bite of a mini pecan pie. No fork, just a straight bite, then apparently remembered he hates pecan pie and left it stacked neatly on the little box. Another time he sat up and stared straight ahead at the wall, didn't respond to me asking what was wrong. He stood up, walked into the wall, then stood there like he was contemplating the barrier. He just backed up exactly as he came, sat down and swung back into bed like nothing happened. That was creepy. I was in my brother's room watching TV with him and he ended up falling asleep. He mumbled something about Arizona, and when I asked what he said, he didn't respond. Then a few minutes later he sits up, squints his eyes and just scans the room back and forth. I asked if he was okay and he laid back down and went back to sleep. I still don't know what he was scanning the room for, but it creeped me out. Kinda sounds like my friend sitting up and going, "Salt? Where's the salt?" and just sat there looking around for a few seconds before going back to sleep. Neanderthal gene, night watch. That sounds like a perk in a video game, man. What's the level requirement for that? My aunt likes to tell the story about her and my cousin sharing a hotel room one time. My aunt woke up having to pee, and found my cousin sitting up in bed with her arms folded across her abdomen, kind of rocking back and forth and giggling quietly. When my aunt asked her what she was doing, my cousin said, "I'm holding a baby and it has an adult smile." I found this story deeply unsettling. Get the holy water. He started shouting that he couldn't feel his left arm. I pointed out he was pinching his pillow, not his arm. He then freaked out that he had lost his arm. I pointed out his arm was under his pillow. He said okay and started snoring. It took me another hour to get back to sleep. He didn't wake up at all. Edit. Blimey went to bed and this went crazy overnight. Thanks to those who reached out in concern to check on his health. He participated in a sleep study and it was found to be stress-related. Luckily not sleep apnea. Also, he did wake up, just not until morning. Didn't realize I'd phrased it in such a way that people thought he'd died. That sounds like he was high. Yeah, he wasn't. But he definitely has a sleep issue. Often he sees huge bat people and gets out of bed to chase them away, or talks about all sorts of random shit. He once threw a pillow out the window thinking it was a bomb. I dread to think what he would be like if he did take any drugs. We can't stop here, this is bat country. My mom sleepwalks sometimes. When she was in the middle of her residency, she came into my room in the middle of the night and sharply asked, "Did you give patient her dose of medication, like I asked you to 15 minutes ago?" I groggily replied, "Who? Wah." She just huffed and said, "Well, I guess that answers my question," before turning around and leaving. Without closing the door, of course. She didn't remember a thing about it the next morning. What is it with moms never closing bedroom doors? It transcends age, race, location, and all other demographics imaginable. If you're a mom, bedroom doors do not close. It is the way. To the moms reading this, be the change. I always close the doors, but my wife never does. Our daughter says she always knows who's been where because of this fact. My girlfriend was sleepwalking one night. Her, "Can we get that done this week?" Me, "Huh." Her, "Can we get that done this week?" Me, "Sorry." Her, "Can we get that done this week please?" Me, "Okay." Her, "Thanks." my husband once sat bolt upright on bed and announced, "You're not working hard enough. I have to fire you," and went back to sleep. My husband sat up straight and yelled, "What the fuck," and laid down again, got all cozy and not another word from him after that. Freaked me out. Sounds like he just got fired for not working hard enough. I'd be the king of Monaco. My wife said this one night out of nowhere. The funniest part was her tone of voice, proud and assertive, like she was really sure of her claim to the throne. Anyway, the joke's on her, Monaco is a principality. Wow, thanks everyone. I've never had a post or comment get above 10 upvotes before and definitely never had any awards. Well, I think you'll find the joke's on you. A King of Monaco is a nickname they give to people who have won the Monaco Grand Prix in Formula 1. Edit 1. Why is this my most upvoted thing on Reddit? And word corrections. So you saying their wife wants to be a race car driver? My brother did that in the middle of the night. He would get up, go into the living room, say some nonsense shit to our parents and go back to bed. It was actually pretty creepy the first times, because he was like, "They are in the walls." They are. I do this too. But I usually wake up as the sentences coming out of my mouth and realize the convo I'm replying to wasn't real. Then I yell, "Never mind," and run away in shame. My one claim to sleep-talking fame is that as I was waking up I was talking in my dream, so my partner heard me say, out of nowhere, "What about like, a really tall giraffe?" I remember saying it. I have no memory of what problem I was facing that I thought might be solved by a really tall giraffe. Honestly, what situation isn't improved by a really tall giraffe? Napping with the boyfriend, a loud noise wakes me, but he's still out. Me, what was that? Him, either a tree or a magic eraser. Mr. Clean hiding in your closet looking real nervous after that. My wife started screaming one night that she was lost in the local grocery store. And that no matter where she went she couldn't find her way out. I asked her has she tried checking out at the cash registers. She then looked at me and said in her most sincere voice, "That's why you are the smartest person I know." And she rolled over and fell back asleep. Ah, that's super cute. Ex-roommate talked in his sleep. Once, he cried out, "No Gandalf. Don't tempt me, Frodo, what are you doing step Frodo?" I hope that was a dream about being on a quest with Gandalf doing something heroic and not a nightmare about being Pippin alone with Gandalf. Not a partner but in military training and school I often took the night shift for guard duty. The amount of sleepwalkers and talkers is way fucking higher than I expected. It is straight creepy when you have to walk down the halls with a covered flashlight listening to big-ass grown men mumbling and lashing out in their sleep. What takes the cake though is often sleepwalkers will just kinda stop randomly. So you'll be walking along in the pitch black darkness and suddenly there is just a fucking dude standing there. Eyes generally closed, or worse, open, just kinda listing to the side or leaning against a bedpost or wall. After I'd suppress all the swear words I was about to yell out, nothing much to do but kinda prod them along back to their bed. For all the randomness that is being part of the military, I really didn't expect one of my jobs to be gently tucking my fellow soldiers back into their beds. I know stress usually makes sleep-talking, walking worse and I'm sure military training is likely stressful. The ones doing sit-ups freak me out the most. Lol, I didn't see anyone doing sit-ups while asleep. Mostly just dudes wandering around aimlessly or getting lost trying to hazily make their way to the bathroom. There was always that one guy that'd fall asleep on the toilet and you'd have to go bang on the door to get him to go back to bed. Before sleep rituals were also funny to watch. People doing cardio, cleaning their guns, prayer, reading their manuals, shining shoes, the dude that always wrapped himself up like a mummy that I was sure would suffocate one night, a CPLE guys called themselves the comedy club who would tell jokes before bed, dudes beat boxing, push-up competitions, a guy stole a Harry Potter book from the store and had a reading club, we had to stop Fight Club in the showers, and lastly a guy we found at the end who each night stole protein powder from our swole drill instructor and drank it in his canteen while under his covers. My wife was mumbling a lot and suddenly shouted, "Donkey kick," as she kicked me in my shin, so that was fun. My wife was in her finals week, so she woke up in the middle of the night telling me she discovered a way to study while sleeping. So I asked her how, and she closed her eyes and went back to sleep. She's presumably not wrong. Lol. Maybe she accidentally discovered a realm where dreams and consciousness are one and the same and now that knowledge is lost forever. LMAO. One time, my ex was asleep and start to snore progressively loud. He startled himself half awake, and he says out loud to himself, "Shut up, I'm sleeping." Oh, I snorted my drink through my nose. Reminds me of the time my dog woke himself up with his own fart. When I was a child about 5 years old, I was sleeping in my parents' bed for some reason, probably a storm. Mom was awake, Dad and I were asleep. Suddenly my father and I have this cross-sleep conversation while my mom lays between us, quietly freaked out. "Dad, you better not take my toys." I mutter angrily. "Okay, I won't," my father responds. "Don't even touch them." Okay. Not particularly scintillating conversation, but notable for the fact that we're both asleep and still responding to each other. It was like making Alexa and Siri talk to each other lol. I remember one night Mum and I sat in the hallway giggling because my brother and Dad were having a sleep conversation in different rooms. "Dad, do you sell steel here?" "Brother, can I help you?" "Dad. Dad, I want to buy some steel." "Brother, what?" "Dad, how much is the steel? Why are you buying clothes in the soup store?" My grandfather was a hard sleep talker. My grandmother has a funny story. One day my grandfather while sleeping was saying, "Do I punch this asshole?" My grandmother replayed, "Yeah, punch him." Then my grandfather in his sleep punched her. I woke up one night when my husband started flailing around in the bed. It shocked me and I shouted, "What's wrong?" Then he punched me in the face. I yelled out and started crying. Then he woke up and shouted, "What's wrong?" He dreamt he was being chased and then turned round and punched them. My mum, who is in her 80s, often falls asleep in her chair while I'm visiting her. She sleep eats. Not real food, but she goes through the motions of holding a plate and bringing food to her mouth. It's hilarious watching her. I asked her once if it was nice and she said yes, it's very tasty. Edit. To thank folks for the awards. The part about your mom honestly made my heart melt. Heck yes. Please take a seat. My wife was an avid sleep talked for a long time and her midnight announcements range from simple single words to elaborate speeches. The ones that really stand out to me are waking up in the middle of the night to her suddenly sitting violently up in bed, throwing back the covers, and screaming, "Tarantula. That will make you very awake, very quickly." Whispering my name repeatedly, which woke me up so she could share in a hushed, cautious voice, "There is an alligator in here." When I expressed my concern, playing along, she told me, still whispering, that, "It's okay. It has been here before." But my all-time favorite was when, from her perspective as she later explained, she was dreaming that I was playfully sneaking up on her and she saw me and was calling me on it. From my perspective, my wife sat up in the middle of the night, starting into the darkest corner of the room and said repeatedly in a soft sing-song voice, "I see you." My flipping blood froze. TLDR. My wife is terrifying. Edit 1. Thanks for the awards. I am glad this has managed to make some people laugh, cry at work. No gems, just horrors. I sleepwalk once in a while, but apparently when I was a toddler I used to sleepwalk, cry and say, "She's following me," or just try to leave the house by myself. Nowadays if it happens, I wake up looking at my reflection in the mirror in the dark. When that happens it fucking creeps me out, so I won't sleep the rest of the night. Edit 1. Why don't I move or cover the mirror? The first time it happened, I covered the mirror, but with my morning rushes to work, I pull the cloth down to get ready, and then cover it when I reach home. I've had and still have peaceful nights of sleep, with dimmed lights on, so eventually I'd skip on covering mirror and focused more not being afraid of the dark. When I least expect it, I catch myself waking up to the mirror with a gentle head bump nod. Get spooked at the incident, rinse and repeat with a blanket cover. I generally have good nights of sleep. These sleepwalks are very rare, so I'm more concerned about my fear of sleeping in the dark. I can't do it. I need a dimmed light for bedtime. Edit 2. Is it this particular mirror in my room? Yes, it's always this mirror, but maybe I haven't had enough sleepovers to have another sleepwalking state elsewhere. I think it's just my subconscious self remembering how I like the mirror during the daytime to get ready, do my hair, makeup, try clothes, etc. I live in a shared flat, so I can only leave it in my room. It's a cheap full-length mirror, and anyway, these sleepwalks are so rare. Recent episodes has made me want to leave the mirror outside my room, but then again I don't want to weird out my flatmates by describing them this particular sleeping habit. You could be